Namaste. Welcome, beautiful souls. Happy Saturday. Full moon blessings to each and every one of you. And I will be doing a reading for the collective in the full moon in Libra and honoring the rebirth of Venus just a few hours after the full moon. And I hope that that energy plays positively into all of your lives. Pretty special time. First full moon of spring in the Northern Hemisphere. And I always want to remember that I do have viewers and loved ones in the Southern Hemisphere. And please, please, if I ever forget and I'm doing a reading for you, remind me because I can. I have the skills to switch from Northern to Southern Hemi perspective. And I think that's really important as a reader to remember that. Especially a lot of the illustrations in the tarot and various interpretations from all kinds of systems are based on not only a Western perspective, but also a Northern Hemisphere perspective. Today, I will not be talking about these three decks. I started this journey and I will carry on next week. But because I wanted to spend a little bit more time with full moon readings today, I'm going to carry on with the next group of cards next Saturday. And I say that hesitantly. Hopefully, I can do it. It is a holiday here. It really depends what's happening in my household. So it might be 2 weeks. So I do apologize if I'm not here next Saturday. A lot going on my channel this week, and I just don't know quite where to start. So lots of things you have seen because I've uploaded a few videos, and the Arthurian series is really starting to come together. And I am taking my time exploring these cards because I find that when a tarot deck incorporates mythology, it um, sometimes it can feel like a bit of a stretch, and other times it's just magical the way that the lessons from the mythology fit in with the something familiar that you know about the tarot. And what happened this week with the Hearth card, which in most of these decks is the Taliesin card, was something kind of special. So I thought I would just repeat this and let you sit with it. And if you're watching the replay, you want to come back and leave a comment, I would really appreciate it. Or if you want to go back to the Hierophant video for this series and leave a comment, I think that would be amazing. Welcome to Winds of Reflection. Hello, namaste. So the thing that came through with, and maybe I'll put the cards on the table. I've got so many things to share with you today, just so you can see these ones. This is the Llewellyn, which is Taliesin. I know these are small here. Let me go half and half, and then you can see better. Taliesin in the legend, the Arthurian tarot, Taliesin in the Matthew's Arthurian tarot, and this is what's his name? Sorry, I forget his name. But if you watch the Merlin TV series, this is the character that Gaius is based upon. And then in the Llewellyn, we also have Taliesin. So the piece that really was different in all of these decks was the idea of a different elemental connection. And I want to say that this element of air came through so loudly. And because I have been working really hard and teaching so much tarot, working with Golden Dawn correspondences, and the fact that the Hierophant is Taurus, it's earth energy, it's fixed energy, the 5, the 6, and the 7 Pentacles connection, and all of this. And Venus being the ruler of Taurus, I've really been building those correspondences. So to sit with all these airy metaphors metaphors that came through in these stories was really different. And maybe it's something that I indirectly have connected with because I've always seen the Hierophant as a conduit, as a transmitter of information from the other side, from spirit, from your guides, from God, whatever you want to, however you interpret that. But it felt even more powerful that this was a card of signs and messages and interpretations and higher thought. And it kind of started to, I kind of went down a bit of a rabbit hole thinking about this because it felt very, uh, I don't know, elusive, intangible. It was taking me in somewhere quite uncomfortable. And I really appreciate that because all of these deck creators are going in this direction. Now, I want to say something here that a lot of the decks that are created in the UK, which seems counterintuitive, that are of Celtic origin, do not take great hold in Golden Dawn correspondences, if any at all. And this really is a test for me because in this series, I have been planning ahead and working with the swords and the wands and trying to figure out this mix of information between the elements. And that is kind of what started this semi related discussion, which I will carry on next week. And so here it is again. I am in a place where I am being forced to consider, contemplate, expand my neat little box of associations that I connect with the Hierophant to something else. And I'm really grateful for that. I love doing these deep dives. Hi, Hannah. Hello, and welcome to Donna. Namaste, Donna, Artists and Oracles. So, if you have some thoughts on the Hierophant and its elemental correspondence, I would really appreciate a comment, particularly going back to that related video, because if we can keep them all in one place, it'd be so nice. I'm like things organized, but if you want to comment here, that's fine. All right, so that's one thing. Mondays, I am doing readings with Marseille decks, or I use that term loosely. So decks that are of the Marseille style, and really enjoying this because it is making me have a really good look at how I read and how I may or may not have incorporated a lot of what I spent 2024 doing. And that was a, I guess you could call it 52 plus week dive into the Tarot of Marseille. And so I've decided this year, rather than talking about the cards, I'm going to use the cards and do readings. So I've been doing readings on Mondays. The deck that I'm putting on the table here is a really, really amazing little deck. It's called Tarot Key 23. The creator's business name is Midnight Tarot, and their actual name, I believe the pronunciation is Gergely Baga Mary. Baga Mary. This is the box. The deck has very simple, uh, solid pink backs, square corners, shuffles beautifully. And the readings that came through this week were just extraordinary. I had so much fun and I was so curious and playful. And one of the things I've been very cautious of in expanding and working with Tarot de Marseille on a regular basis is that question about authenticity, because this is not, strictly speaking, a Tarot of Marseille. It is not. It's neither a Type 1 nor a Type 2. It is a contemporary, expanded version based on the interpretations of the cards that this artist resonates with. And I have a few of these decks, such as the New Choice Tarot de Marseille and the Speak Marseille, and there's lots of contemporary iterations of this deck that are not strictly historical reproductions of these ancient, not ancient perhaps, old cards. And this one has the most amazing um, attitude in the faces, and the readings were just so much fun. Yeah. So I want to repeat here that if you would like a reading on Mondays, I'm selecting 3 readings, and I'm not doing it live. I'm doing it here at my table because I never know what time I'm gonna get home from work, and then I, upload it some point Monday night. And so all you need to do is put your question in last week's Monday, Marseille. Yeah, but this deck, oh my goodness, I'm enchanted with these cards. I love this. I love the artwork. It's really, surprised me how deeply the readings have taken me and how I've connected with it. Like I said, because there's this, um yeah, I wanna respect the reproductions of such decks, and probably my favorite is my Fleur Noire, Madanier reproduction. That is a really amazing deck. And this one, it also feels a little bit, um, well, there's just so much from all of these older European decks incorporated in this one, and the colors and the white space. Love, love, love it. So thank you to Midnight Tarot for this deck. It wasn't I purchased it. It wasn't sent to me or anything like that. Yeah. Okay. A little bit about um, RWS. So the RWS journey continues, and I'm continuing to expand and look at side by sides and comparisons. And this week, I started to record, and I'm going to have to start from the beginning and do it again because I only got to this card here. As a um, content creator, as somebody who has studied the tarot for a long time and read for a long time, and I sit down to do a video like this, and I chose the New Choice Tarot de Marseille and the Fifth Spirit Tarot as a comparison because they're both kind of revolutionary decks. They're both queer decks, and I think they both have a similar attitude, though they are a decade apart in time in production. But they both have a certain heart that is similar. And I sit down to do these side by sides, and I start picking up the cards and looking at them, and I think this 13th card, I was probably already an hour in, and honestly, I can usually do 78 cards. It takes me about 2 hours of recording time, and then I cut it down, and by the time everything's cut down and edited, it's about an hour, which takes probably 4 hours to do. It's a big job. So I'm, um, I'm gonna go back, start again, do these 2. I have a whole series of them on my plan to do these side by sides and discussions. I just need your patience because it's a lot. It's a lot of work to do this. And I used to do all this stuff live, but you've told me you prefer pre-recorded videos. So I'm trying to get back to this, and hopefully I will get better at it and faster. Um, yeah. So this is the one that will finish. I will record it again, and it will come up this week. And if you have requests for RWS inspired side by sides, let me know. Happy to comment on that. I ordered a full size of the um, Morgan Greer. I have been wanting to do a side by side of Morgan Greer and Ehrenberg for some time. And so the large deck, because it's hard, when you're doing a side by side, you've got a pocket deck, and you've got a big one. Even this one is a little tricky because these cards are so big. And I did have the pocket, but the pocket would have been way too small. You can't see a lot in that pocket deck. This is an amazing deck, by the way. And I started reading about the Morgan Greer Tarot, this classic deck, and I forgot about the history of the color associations. And so I've had to go and go down another rabbit hole of the color and the history of the Morgan Greer. It is more than just a Wade Smith inspired deck. So that one might be a little while in the coming. Yeah. So how are you all doing? How are you all doing? Today, the full moon will be here shortly, and it is in Libra, right? So if the sun is in Aries, then the moon is in 180 degrees on the other side of that astrological wheel. And so we're looking at this axis of Aries and Libra. We're looking at a moon in a potent sign of everything. Um, Libra is a tricky sign in the tarot, right? Is about with it being ruled by Venus. I feel like there's an aspect of the beauty and the sensorialness, if that's a word, of Venus that gets lost in Libra. The beauty of music, the beauty of the refinement of ballet, that kind of thing. I think there's some um, harshness to it through its association with the scales and justice and so forth. But there's also an elegance to it, and I really love um, the quality that it can bring. So the full moon is in Libra, and if you think about Queen of Swords and 2, 3, and 4 of Swords, and whether you work with Libra as justice or adjustment or karma, it has this quality of reconciliation and karmic restitution and harmonizing and balance. It's also very empowering. I mean, you think about that Queen of Swords, and she's only revealing her right side of her face in a Wade Smith inspired deck anyway. The knowledge-based side of herself. And remember that she's a queen, right? So she's full of water. She is fully capable of embracing her intuitive side. And this Queen of Swords does not mess around. And it's so funny because she doesn't need anybody else. And yet she's in this sign of partnership and balance and twos and harmony. And she takes us through these really hard times of 3 of Swords, 2 of Swords, 3 of Swords. And then she passes the torch to the King of Cups, who takes us into Scorpio, into our darkness. And so this is a really potent time that perhaps has us contemplating grief and letting go and processing loss in a way that might be a little bit unexpected. And I think about this dynamic. I mean, all this stuff goes on in my head when I'm trying to set up for these readings. So we're in Aries. Aries, queen of fire, queen of fire. And we have the emperor. We have all this martial energy, and we have this initiating spring energy with all this testosterone and shovels and digging the dirt and turning things over and getting things going. It's very masculine and yeah, driven. And the Queen of Swords, I feel like, wants to capture a little precision here. The lunar energy in general is going to harmonize, I feel, a lot of the fiery energy of Aries. And so I wonder if there's a little bit of who's in charge questioning that's going on here. Who's gonna deal with this? Who's gonna take the ropes and lead the way? Because we look at cardinal air and cardinal fire. 2, 3, 4 of wands and 2, 3, 4 of swords, right? And Donna says this is, right? She's finding this rather intense. And so we have these two cardinal queens, the queen of air and the queen of fire, standing up, maybe asking, right, who's gonna lead the way? And there's so many ways you can analyze what's going on. Now, Venus is retrograde and coming back direct um, very soon. And I feel like with this uh, neutralizing and then the positive energy of Venus coming with us, the positive qualities or the supporting and nurturing qualities of Venus are going to be amplified. So maybe this has to do with your financial situation, Libra, scales, balancing, harmonizing. Maybe she's coming back to help with that. Maybe there is a new understanding or a new way to find harmony and balance with your in a relationship. And I don't ever want to lose, like I sort of led with the idea of um, elegance and the the precision of the Queen of Swords captures a beauty that we sometimes miss in Libra because we get focused on the balancing and the harmony. So let's shuffle some cards, shall we? I'm going to work with this deck just because I have to. I need to. Haven't really given it a chance. And you are welcome to, when I pull a card for you, you're welcome to or request anything that's in my reach. And I can let you know what that might be. Some of them are sorted, so um, you won't get a good shuffle. But let me know. Okay. This is a reading for the collective on the 12th day of April 2025. And I've already stated all these contemplations and questions that are in my mind regarding this time, this dance, where the Libra full moon is supported and fully illuminated by this powerful Aries sun. There is this strong feminine energy of Venus that is coming forth and facing Aries. And is she, okay, so I know this sounds a little bit cliche, but is she showing up for her man? Does she need to be here to hold him up? And so I want you to translate that into how does my divine feminine self need to show up for my divine masculine self? How do I need to pick up, energize, acknowledge, put time into my receptive lunar qualities to support my strength, my drive, my will, my creativity? This is this is one of the beauties of working with tarot and astrology simultaneously. So, with that particular question, let's go with this for the reading for the collective. And as always, I ask this message be in the highest for the greatest good, and that no harm be done. So be it. I could have done a, um, oh well, I've started. I'm thinking I should have done something else, but that's okay. And then I get one of my sort of least favorite cards in this deck. I think this is a really weird page of wands. I feel like she or they have done some magic and um, like unbeknownst to them, like they're shocked that the magic actually worked. And certainly I can connect magic and these otherworldly skills through the power of wands. Often, I would see on this now, right? Often the page of swords, not page of swords, page of wands, and many of the pages in many decks, it looks like, well, now I have this gift of this element. What in the world am I going to do with it? It's like that, like, oh my God, it worked. I actually did it. Oh, okay. I do have this skill. All right. So, how can we apply this card to what I was saying about the energy and time that I need to put into my divine feminine self to work with my divine masculine? Yeah, she does. She looks like she's surprised by her abilities. You know, like I can think of like, holy shit, I actually did it. Wow. Okay, this really works. Everything I've been learning, everything I've been studying is uh, completely legitimate. Very sort of martial background. Now, pages, if you work with Golden Dawn stuff, pages generally are strongest in their energy over the fixed signs. Hello, Milky Haji. And I would say, so Leo, right? So there's strength here. There is, uh, um, if I think of a daughter of Leo energy, kind of a wanting to be on the stage. Anyway, let's pull the other cards and I'll see if I can weave my question into what's going on here. Okay, I promise you these were shuffled, shuffled, shuffled. This deck was not sorted. So now we have the Knight of Wands here. Sagittarius kind of energy, right? This is kind of a spiritual quality to it, commitment path. If I look at these two together, I'm thinking of a sort of playfulness that um, is being asked. The responsibility, the leadership, the um, oversight, all of the managerial skills that I would connect with the Emperor and even the Queen of Wands is often overwhelming. It's often overwhelming. So maybe these two younger players are here saying, don't take this so seriously. How can you uh, simplify it, be more curious about it, and it being your work, your project, whatever it is that you are working with? Okay, so I also wanna there's something beautiful here with having a page and a knight, okay? And this fits into the Libra stuff, the harmony stuff. I'm gonna pull a 3rd card, maybe a 4th card. Pages, so if we're talking about Tree of Pages are Malkut, central path on the Tree of Life, knights are in the heart space, Tiferet, middle of the Tree of Life. So these 2 cards are on both in the central channel. They are They reflect an energy of each other. This is the element of air. I know this is a fire night, but all nights are in the heart, element of air, and pages are earth, element of earth. This is Golden Dawn correspondences. And the heart space and this earthiness of where we are in this central channel, this feels um, like it says the uh, the path. Hi, Lydian. Welcome. Haven't seen you in ages. Lydian, it feels like the road back to harmony is not so difficult. We just need to simplify. We need to remember how we did it when we were younger. And I know that we're all of different generations here. Balance and harmony isn't so difficult. Yes, I am a Knight of Swords. And yes, sorry, wands. And yes, I am playful. I'm still young, exuberant, and I don't know, I think that there's something here about this energy that feels great. Oh my goodness. You gotta love the tarot. It just throws all kinds of stuff at you. So here's the Mars card. This is an air. This is directly connected to Aries. It is a status quo. Maybe that's how Dana is feeling, right? It's like the carpet's being pulled out because it's dirty. You didn't clean it. You've been complaining about it. And so the carpet's pulled out. It's taken away because you didn't take the time to deal with it, even though you knew it was stinky and dirty and needed to be shampooed. Maybe a funny um, metaphor to use, but this is a time to reset. It is a time to reset. And the Mars card should be of no surprise here. And I really apologize for my dog. She's barking now. She's slurping her water. I don't know what you can hear and not hear, but it's Saturday and it's a beautiful sunny day. All the doors and windows are open and it's life. Um, yeah. So tons and tons of fire here. And in response to the question, I would say that, yeah, we need to tend to our fire. All this fire needs tending. The page needs a mentor. The knight needs focus, perhaps. And the Mars card, the Tower card, needs acknowledgement. It needs it needs support. It needs a good look at. Yes, you have been feeling this. So, what needs to shift in our attitude, our behaviors, our expectations? And often, expectations is a nasty one because we can all use some shifting of our expectations. Wow. Let me get another page. This is kind of a funky, crazy reading. And another page, she was saying, whoa, look what I can do. Look at the energy between my hands. I can make this coin float between my hands. Okay, so we have 2 pages here. Interesting that this all sort of turned out as a 4-card reading. I think of Emperor as 4, maybe these 4 cards being a new foundation, a new support. There is um, little sign of Venus here. Venus is not showing up yet. Uh, anyway, I want to kind of go back the 2 pages. So here is another page emphasizing that idea, and I like what uh, um, Winds of Reflection. I'm sorry if I wrote down your name. It's not registering. If you tell me what your name is, so I'm sorry. Um, maybe she. So this one was referring to the page of Wands. Maybe she knows intuitively, but questioning, healing her masculine side. Maybe the page of coins is also giving us an opportunity to reset what's going on in the material world. And I said this not so long ago, so maybe this is sort of emphasizing this thing about Venus. Venus is coming back to be in her position as the morning star, right? So she's being rebirthed after the full moon in a sign in which she rules. So this is a very special time. In Vedic astrology, this is the Vedic New Year. And we have 2 pages. And haven't you always connected pages to new beginnings and new opportunities? And the way that I have just happened to arrange the cards on the table, the towers on the left side, and we have more playful and exuberant energy with the cards, with this triangle of cards. And if you think about this, you could think about the 3 cards on the right as a forward-facing triangle, moving us ahead, saying, you know, I mean, what is your status quo that you've been holding on to, resisting leaving behind that that you haven't, right? So it's an attachment thing. And I suppose I can also make a connection into Libra and the energy of the Libra full moon, particularly uh, the middle decan of Libra, which is the Three of Swords. And the Three of Swords is all about letting go. And the Four of Swords, third decan of Libra, is about healing and what's the word? Integration and restoration, integrating the lessons of the letting go. So we do have indirectly Venus showing up here as money, as abundance, as coins, as a new um, a new way of perceiving your material experience. Both pages, so 2 pages, pages Golden Dawn Wise are in Malkut, in this earthly experience. So maybe that's what this is. Maybe there is something about um, our material 3D experience. I mean, there's always something we can change and work with. And I kind of like this, that this reading is coming down to earth today, because so often I find myself on a very spiritual direction with my readings. And this feels like it's simple. I said that up several minutes ago with the page and the knight, and I brought them into the central pillar, saying the road to harmony is not so difficult. We need to make it simple. How can you simplify what's going on in your discombobulation so that the overwhelm significantly decreases? Yeah, I totally agree. Um, the and maybe that's the message we can all take for today. The playfulness, the the letting go qualities. And if I go back to that Three of Swords as a central decan of Libra, the moon is in Libra, and maybe there's something, and I use the word attachment. Maybe there's something that you are resisting releasing because you are afraid of what it's going to look like without it being there. But ask yourself this: what would your 8-year-old self or your 12-year-old self, how would they handle this? Hmm, it's not so difficult. Choose simplicity. Yeah, and if we're going to go with chakra associations, if we're going to go with chakra associations, then this is tribe and family. Um, and one of the first things that comes to mind is you choosing to do it your way, that your path, your individuality is more than okay. The biggest lesson of the root chakra, the biggest one that is so hard for people, is to claim that unique individuality and to be able to take that out into the world. And then when they come back to their family, come back to their come back to their people, to let that shine and to not be smaller and to not talk the way they used to talk and act the way they used to act, but to allow these qualities and these things they've been playing with to shine. And so, saying that, I think these three players here can help us to um, tease, define, play, experiment uh, with something that's been perhaps in the closet for too long. Okay. You know, I could go on and on and on, and it's amazing. I the more um, the more layers of tarot that I'm just going to focus this camera again here. Hopefully that will focus. Hello, maybe not. There we go. The more layers of tarot that you learn to work with, the more fun it is to read tarot. And yes, definitely go there too as well. And when I think of the orange card, and okay, well, here we go. Let's go on. Let's talk about this. So the orange card, sacral chakra on the right. The sacral chakra, no matter what we are continuing to process here will always show up in relationship. If you think about sacral chakra, it's all about two-ness, two ovaries, two testes, two, it's always about two. And if we take the journey from the root chakra to the sacral chakra, and wisdom reflection is choosing the aspect of that as the core childhood wounds, we take that from home, from the tribe, out into the world, and we play with that in relationship. We play with that in two-ness. Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope each of you have found a message here today that um, you can take away. And I think I will leave these cards on the table. I am going to shuffle the rest of the deck. And if any of you would like a card, let me know, and I will place a card over this reading just for you. And like I said, if you're aware of what might be on my table, I'm happy to draw a card from another. Lydiane, it's been so long. Lovely to have you back here. Lydiane was one of the, oh gosh, for years I did live Fridays, and she was a regular at that time. All right, so this is a card for Winds of Reflection. I've shuffled a single cut, and it was a perfect magnetic type of cut. Love it when the cards do that. Oh, my dear. Okay. What? It's very sweet of you to say. I miss you too. I miss a lot of the people that were around 5 years ago. Uh, okay, here's a couple questions for you. What is to be gained? I want you to think about what are the, yeah, what is to be gained? What are the benefits? What are the supporting qualities of taking all of those wands home? Honestly, the door behind her looks like some sort of a sacred space. And that if she can get all that, but why is she struggling so hard? Why is she struggling so hard? There's this interesting um, what do you want to call comparative energy between how hard she is working and the playfulness of the three cards on the right. Almost like the Knight of Wands has just taken one wand from that bag and is dancing off with it. And the Page of Wands has taken one wand and played with it in a different way. Yeah, it's definitely related to the Tower. And I'm thinking, okay, so 10 of Wands is a Sagittarius card. Third decan of Sagittarius. This is where the Queen of Pentacles picks up her role. This precedes the Two of Pentacles. This is also a Saturnian decan. So there is an intensity here. This is like a boiling cauldron. Something is ready to be born, but not born gently. Perhaps Um, perhaps it's clear. I mean, is it ever clear what our tower moments are? I mean, we never have the gift of seeing so far down the road that we completely understand what the tower card represents, right? You need to be pretty enlightened to see that. We just need to trust that these moments of intensity are for greater good. I have one suggestion, and that is if you have an ache or a pain or a sadness or something that you can sit with right around the time of the full moon, like if you can lie down and capture a memory or some aspect of grief, if you have a physical ache in your body, to really capture the intensity of it and sit with it and sit with it and feel it because it has a message for you. It's almost like maybe it hasn't come to the surface because you've suppressed it. And we all do that. We all do that. And I was using that example of the carpet. It's like, I don't have time to clean the carpets. It's so much work. I have to move all the furniture. But the truth is that it's something that has to be done. So there's, yeah, a lot. There's a lot that's going on here. And certainly this card connects beautifully to everything that's coming through in the reading for the collective, that keeping it simple is um, the best remedy. Okay, so I'm going to move on, and thank you, Winds of Reflection. I'm going to move on to seashells. And I'm going to keep this story in mind. So these four cards are not in the deck. And then I can weave your question into the theme of what's going on. Hmm. Wowza. Venus. Here comes Venus. Um, I'm your Venus. I'm your power. And this is not disconnected from what I was talking about in the Saturnian energy of the Ten of Wands in Winds of Reflections reading. But for you, the archetype is full front. So if in any way you have been doubting about the birth of your project, so the birth of your baby. So write down at the top of your journal, what is the baby I've been putting energy into? You need to trust that indeed it will be born soon. This is, I mean, look at how she claims her power. It's so cool. This is a very strong, and I love this. Look at the wheat stuff in her hair. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna pull another card for you. Um, folks, these cards have been shuffled and shuffled and shuffled. So you have this Venus Hierophant, um, major archetypes coming on. So this, if you are feeling an intensity right now, it is archetypal, it is karmic, it is coming through perhaps ancestral patterns. It's probably reflected in multiple aspects of your life. And when these two cards do a dance together, you're looking at, again, feminine and masculine archetypes, but with the Hierophant, there are messages to be received. So as this development comes to its climax, pay attention to wise ones and um, advice and teachers. You might want to seek out an advisor. When I think of this energy, and it's funny, this is where I'm ending today, but this is also where I began today. And I was talking about tallies and my, all of these hearth cards that I have been reflecting on this week through the series I'm doing with the Arthurian Tarot. And I've been contemplating this because this is incredible here, right? This is the Venus card planetarily. This is Taurus, ruled by Venus. So Venus, and we've got Venus colors, Venusian colors in the background here, the green. And I don't want to lose my point. While the Venusian energy is, oh my God, and Venus rules Libra, the moon, right? So you've got Venus here shining in all of her aspects. You've got Venus shining in her beauty and her strength, owning the divine feminine. And you've got these receptive qualities that are coming through. So this piece about the Hierophant, in case you weren't here at the beginning, I don't think you were, is that with the Hierophant, there is there is a channeling, central path. Oh my goodness, more connections. Quality. The Hierophant, if you think about all of the, maybe, I don't know if you read tarot, you use tarot, but all the different Hierophant cards that there are, sometimes it's a shaman, sometimes it's a yoga teacher, sometimes it's um, an Aboriginal chief sitting around a fire. Sometimes, you know, there's important messages to come through. You're engaged. That's wonderful. And so, embracing um, and listening to elders and wise ones through all of this is really important. Seeking out advice is not a bad thing. This is a huge time of change for you, a huge time of change. And you might get all excited about, "Ooh, yes, I'm gonna have a baby," right? You can you can look at that as well too. But also, I think it's important, Seychelles, to acknowledge that all of this change is also going to be um, uncomfortable. There will be things that are, ooh, it's not quite what I thought this was. And yes, it's a wonderful time to be excited about all of this newness and these fresh things. And yet know that with change, we can sometimes have it can stir up things. So just trust that this is all forward motion. It's all for the good. It is healing. And I think one of the messages we can take from two major archetypes showing up is that this indeed is for your greater good. Yeah, it is for your greater good. And so take the, take the archetype of the building and growing, hi, Kevin, to a metaphorical level. Yeah. Mm. Wow, great messages today. Thank you all. Thank you all so much, for your contributions, and if there is, any way that you'd like to connect with what I was sharing at the beginning, I love to carry on these conversations afterward. Now, next Saturday or in 2 weeks, as I mentioned, I may not be able to be here next Saturday. I'm gonna go oh, not this one. So many projects on the table here. I am gonna go back next Saturday to, this discussion that I began with these 3 decks, because I need to sort of finish my thoughts and finish what was going on. Not that it ever any of this tarot stuff ever finishes. So I will be looking at the starting with the 5 of Wands. And if you're interested in contemplating the connections between the suit of fire, the suit of air, the swords and the wands, the spears and the staves, and how it gets so messed up and mixed up and hard to put tarot into little boxes, that's where I'm going next Saturday. Okay? Have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks for being here. Namaste.